Hello everybody, this is the discussion board for week 3. However, although it is being done in the discussion board, it's actually going to count as a peer revising grade. You may work with a group or you may work alone, it's up to you. Here's the essay that you're going to grade. You're going to grade it as though you are the teacher, me, and you're also going to give it feedback as though you are the teacher. To me, that is peer revising. You're going to give feedback. What would you have done differently? How would you have made it better? That's kind of what I do when I grade your essay. It's not kind of, that is what I do. So look over this stuff here. What I want to do is I want to open the essay. You can open it within or you can open it here and download it. If you're going to work in a group, I recommend that maybe you copy and paste this essay over into Google Docs so that everybody can work on it together. And on a word about group, if you're in a group, please work. If you have someone who is in your group and they are not working, kick them out. Let me know. I will give zeros. I don't play around. It's a waste of time. Okay, so I'm going to open it within. So when you come through here, remember this should be double spaced. However, I did not do that because I want to save room. So first of all, look at the heading. Is the heading correct? So I have your prompts here. So would you hear click enter, type in the heading is okay, the title is okay, or excuse me, or there are no errors. I mean, I'm going to tell you there are no errors here, but a lot of people would put January 20th, but that would be an error. It should be written this way. The title, is the title vague? Are the major words capitalized? Is it centered? Okay. Then here, number 3, now we're getting into the essay itself. This is the introductory paragraph. In the introduction, you usually have background knowledge, a hook, get the reader's or the audience's attention. And then you have your thesis. So you read this here and then again enter and type your feedback. Yes, the intro meshed well with the thesis, or the thesis is unclear. Now this is about isms, and Romero, had to, like you guys, had to compare or contrast himself to 3 different people from the articles. So you can see that, did he mention the people who he's going to compare and or contrast? Is that very clear in the thesis? Remember, the thesis should tell your audience, your readers, exactly what the entire essay is going to be about. Okay, so type your feedback there. And here you'll see on my rubric the thesis is worth 10 points. So usually everyone gets a 10. If there is no thesis, it's a 0 and the paper should be an F. However, I do go ahead and grade the first one. But if your next paper has no thesis statement, you get an F and I don't need to read any more. Alright, so keep going. First body paragraph. Well, what do we want? What are we looking for if we are the teacher in a first body paragraph? Does it have a clear topic sentence? Does the topic sentence connect to the thesis? Similar to Judith Kofer, automatically I know it's going to connect to the thesis because Judith Kofer was mentioned in the thesis. So does it have a topic sentence? Is it clear? Does it connect to the thesis statement? How can it connect to the thesis statement? Using the buzzwords, using the same kind of words that you use in the thesis statement to connect them. Then, does the support and the evidence only concentrate on that topic sentence? That is unity. If it goes off and it gives irrelevant information, it's off topic. And then you should have a closing sentence. I say you should, but for essays, sometimes body paragraphs will not have closing sentences because your readers know you're going to continue. So if you read a body paragraph and you think that it flows well without a closing sentence, that's okay. However, if you think if the body paragraph is ending abruptly, maybe there needs to be a closing sentence. Personally, I usually do add closing sentences, and sometimes my closing sentence will also include a transition into the next paragraph. So type your evidence there. Next body paragraph is the same as body 1, body 2. And then you can tell this is the last paragraph, the body paragraph, because they use the transition word finally, which is great. Guys, just a side note, I have students who will use finally for their conclusion paragraphs. Don't do that. Because if you put finally, I, the teacher, will assume that this is another body paragraph. So do not use finally for your conclusion paragraphs. Now here, in conclusion, this is English 110. I don't think he should be using in conclusion. However, it's okay for this essay. Try to get away from that. Try to use something more formal. It is evident, or based on the blah, blah, blah. Have a different starter, but in conclusion, that's a little developmental writing. You guys are better than that now. You're in English 110. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. It's more of a style choice, but I would stay away from it. But for this one, don't deduct points from Romero for that. So read over that and then give your comments about the conclusion. Come down here. The works cited page. Remember, this should all be double spaced. And look, he does have the hanging indent, and it's in alphabetical order. So my point here is, let's say for the myth of a Latin woman, this is an article, so it should be in quotation marks. Let's say that he put it in italics, -1. But if he put italics and italics for the other two articles, I wouldn't take off points there. I only penalize them for the first mistake. Does that make sense? So I don't want to get repetitious and start, going over stuff I shouldn't, or hurting them, deducting points for the same mistake they've made. All right. And then the one thing I didn't really talk about, and I want to go over up here, is when you're reading these, look for comma splices, run-ons, fragments. Fragments are sentences that do not make sense. Maybe it's missing a subject, maybe it's missing a verb, or it doesn't make sense. Maybe it's just a dependent clause hanging out there looking for an independent clause to attach to. And then awkward. If you read a sentence and it doesn't make sense, write awkward and move on. I don't correct sentences anymore. If it's awkward, I keep moving. Remember, any given week I can have 120 essays to grade, so I move and I move quickly. I'm like a computer. Okay, and then down here, you've done all of the paperwork, you've given it. So go through here. This is how I grade your essays. The intro is worth 10 points. Body paragraphs. All together, all of the body paragraphs are worth 65 points. So let's say that they're all good. Give it 65. What if one's a little weak or it's missing something? Jump down and give it something different. Here. So 59 to 65, great supporting details. You can look over this rubric. Language skills, conclusion, give the score. Then what I do is I add up all of the deductions, capitalization, MLA errors, and they're all down here on the rubric. So you can look here. Crucial errors, -1 each. Here, did they use I think or I believe? Why would anybody put that into an essay? It's not necessary. Who is writing the essay? You are. So everything that is written here is what you think or what you believe. So that's not necessary. Did they use you? If they use you, I will take -1 off for every you. That is so informal. Okay, so then come back up here. We have the score. Maybe they had 7 mistakes here, -7, and then their overall final grade. When you copy and paste, when your leader, your team leader, copy and paste this into the discussion board, do not include the essay rubric. I put it here to make it easier for you instead of having to go back and forth between two documents. So this looks like a lot of work. I think it's great, and I really like the last one you do because you guys start to sound like me and the feedback you're giving, and that means you're learning. All right, everybody, if you have any questions, let me know, but please look these videos over well. All right, thank you.